How you doing? Good? Garden State Reds, episode 1. That's funny because this is episode 1. And Maddie, in his piece later on, is going to mention that this is episode 2, but that is not true. I did not post episode 1 covering the predictions for the West Ham game because a certain someone did not send me his piece. But doesn't matter. Regardless, this is episode 1, Garden State Reds. We're really excited to get this started. And, the whole purpose of this and the reasoning is pretty simple. We just want to display our love for United, the players, the current manager right now, the fans, the tradition, and just the club as a whole. And at the end of the day, we're talking about United daily, sending each other voice notes, chatting about it, obsessing over it, just, nonstop talk about this club. And we were like, you know what? Let's put it into a format where you can just throw it on when you're making dinner, when you're driving, when you're hanging out at work, whatever. And just get people to have some exposure to it. Because we were like, at the end of the day, we just love this club. We want to talk about it, and we want to connect with United fans. And we're across the pond. We're based out of New Jersey. And it's just so funny how this club brings people together. They just have such a big fan base. And we just want to have this be a place where we can talk about United, express our opinions, and just meet more United fans, honestly, and just have a platform to talk. So we'd be doing this if it was being posted or not. So this is going to be what it's going to be, and it may turn into video content. It may turn into a discussion-based podcast where we're both on live. But for right now, the basis of it is we're just recording our predictions, reactions, whatever the title and the topic is. We're both recording our own piece, throwing it into a video, and we're chatting about it. So without further ado, Maddie's going to give his piece on the upcoming Everton game. And then we thought it'd be fun just to review a little bit of Arsenal's sufferings, because at the end of the day, we hate City, we hate Liverpool, we hate Leeds, all these clubs, but watching Arsenal suffer feels pretty good this year, I got to be honest. So, yep, I'll let Maddie take it over from here, but excited for this to start, boys.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Good afternoon, and welcome to episode 2 of Garden State Reds. My name is Matt. I am Greg's friend, Greg's best friend. You will have heard from Greg in last episode a few weeks ago for the West Ham game. Sorry, I did not give my input on that game, but just so everybody knows, and again, too, we're new at this, so the format could change as we hopefully grow followers. We are open to suggestions on how to do this, but as of right now, the way it works is I kind of give my piece, Greg gives his piece, and, we kind of combine it together. But yeah, today's topic of conversation is going to be predictions for the Everton game and Arsenal bottle job chat, which I am very, very, very excited for. So yeah, let's go into Arsenal first. Now listen, there's a lot to talk about here. Number one, I really think if Arteta cannot win the league this year, it is just going to be, it's so bad for him. And I was talking to Greg the other day, we're now at a point with Arteta where, because I'm in the same camp as Greg, I still think they're going to edge the league. I have a feeling they may just edge it. But the thing is now, with Arteta, is look, if Arsenal win the league, if they end up winning the league, credit to them. Obviously, they'll be deserved champions. And you can argue about, the style of football, it's boring, it's negative, all which I, by the way, agree with. But if they win the league, it'll be well-deserved. But I feel like Arteta's at the point now where, yes, he'll be given his props for winning the league, but it's more so going to be an attitude of, freaking finally, you did it. It's going to be less of oh my gosh, great job. It's going to be more so just this sigh of relief, which, and I don't know if that, how that really reflects on him. But, yeah, Arteta took over. I was looking the other day, December 2019. So he has been at this club now for a little over 6 years, and he has one COVID FA Cup to show for it. And I was listening to another football podcast the other day, and I can't think of which one it was, but they made a great point. And again, some people might want to argue this point, but there was a point like 3 years ago, especially like that first breakout season where Arsenal were really challenging for the league, which is what, 22, 23? I mean, the conversation that year, because there was this whole thought, I think, that year of this Arsenal team is going to be like the next big dynasty. They're going to kind of continue what City's been doing for the past 3 or 4 years. And people were like, oh my God, Saka, he's going to be almost like the new Salah. Odegaard is going to be like the new De Bruyne. Not saying they're going to be, I mean, I don't know if anybody will ever do what Kevin De Bruyne did. Beating the assist record, all that stuff. But I think they were looking at they were comparing players in Arsenal's squad, the young players at the time who were in their early 20s, mid-20s, to becoming players like the ones at Man City and so on. And it's just not happened. And I think you see that the most concerning thing when I look at this Arsenal team is I look at Odegaard, I look at Saka, and I know Saka had that big injury a year or two ago, so I don't want to give him too much stick, but I just feel like there's so many players within that squad who we were looking at back in 2022, back in 2023, who we were saying, give them 2 or 3 years, they will be world beaters, and it's just not happened. It's just not happened. I don't think he's progressed these players well at all. At all. I just don't think he has. And I think it's really, really, really concerning. And when I look at Arteta, he does not instill, if I was an Arsenal fan and I was watching them week in and week out at the Emirates, he is not a man that instills confidence in me. Just look at his body language on the touchline, the way he paces, constantly fidgeting. Now look, you could argue that Guardiola does similar things, but the difference with Guardiola is he's got 6 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, 4 League Cups, a Champions League treble to back it up. You can excuse that kind of nervous, almost, that nervous behavior more when you've got the titles to back it up. But when I look at Arteta, I'm like, dude, just stand your ground. Plant your feet. Look confident. To me, he constantly looks nervous, and I'm sorry. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist, but that has to play into the mentality of the players. If I'm an Arsenal player and I'm looking over at the touchline and I'm seeing my manager pacing back and forth, fidgeting, clearly looking nervous beyond belief, that's going to probably affect my game. So if I could give any word of advice to Mikel Arteta, not that I want to, because I desperately don't want Arsenal to win the league. And can we talk about how sad this is? Me and Greg talked about it the other day. And again, too, different United fans will have differing opinions, but isn't it crazy that now we live in a world where we have to make these almost terrible ultimatums. I would rather have Manchester City, despite what they represent, despite the 115, all this stuff that just pisses me off to no end, I would rather City win the league. I don't want them to. Obviously, we all know who we want to win the league, but they're not going to. Vying a miracle, which would be amazing, by the way. But isn't that insane? We're now in a place where it's these are the things that we have to kind of accept. The fact that we'd rather have City win the league. And look, and I don't know, for the people that listen to this, maybe comment. Maybe me and Greg are in the minority. Maybe way more people would rather have Arsenal win. But I think we know that fan base. Let's be honest. They'll win the league this year and they'll jerk it off for the next 10 years. All we hear is Invincible chat, constantly. So, that's the main reason why. Because for me, it's if City win it, it's oh, City won again. Same old, same old. It's been the same for the past 8-9 years. But if Arsenal win, dude, we're never gonna hear the end of it, guys. We'll never hear the end of it. But back to Bottle Job chat. Yeah, no, I just think there's so many players in that squad. He's not progressed. Arsenal fans try to push the narrative constantly that Bukayo Saka is world class. And now listen, I like Saka. I'm an England fan, so I love Bukayo. I want Saka to do well. Because if he does well for Arsenal, there's more of a chance he'll do well for England. And now look, I think there was a period, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where he was touching world class, especially in the 2020, the 22-23, especially the 23-24 season. I think he and I don't have stats in front of me, so I could be off, but I think he hit like 16 goals in the Prem in 23-24. I mean, insane numbers for a 22-year-old, 23-year-old. So I think that year, 2 years ago, he was almost world class. I think he was just about to touch it. I think he was on the cusp. I think a lot of us thought that year he is now on the cusp of being world class. And I know he had that big injury last season, and I don't know, maybe he's still feeling the effects from it. Maybe he's just not, but it's been a while now, and he's completely regressed. He has completely regressed. There was a point a few years ago with Saka where Arsenal, you look at Arsenal and you go, he was the difference maker. And you thought they don't win if Saka doesn't start. Not that they don't win, but like, he guaranteed having Saka in their team guaranteed them wins. And I mean, he's got 5 goals in the Prem this year? That's not world-class form. That's mediocre. That's extremely mediocre. And think about it this way too. If Arsenal do win the league, because Saka's got 5 goals, Gyökeres has, and look, people keep excusing this guy, giving him excuses. Oh, the service isn't as good. Okay, fine. I'm willing to play devil's advocate and maybe agree with that. But let's be honest, he's not been good. He's not been good. And the problem is Gyökeres is almost 28. He's 27. You had several years in the championship with Coventry. You had experience in a top league in Europe. Well, maybe not top 5, but still the Portuguese league, Sporting, Champions League experience. He should now, in my opinion, be the finished product. And I know people are gonna say, oh well, Premier League, you need an adjustment year, and maybe. And I will say this, regardless of how many more goals he scores this year, I will reserve my full judgment until next season. But when I look at that adjustment year, I more so apply that to like 21, 22, 23, maybe 24-year-olds. I think a striker of 27 years of age, almost 28, shouldn't need as much of an adjustment period. Not to mention, too, this was a guy who in his first Arsenal interview was comparing himself, to the likes of Kane and Haaland. So when you're going to chat like that, mate, you've got to back it up. And he's just not done it. Gyökeres is the kind of player, even, every highlight, and again, too, I never watched the Portuguese league, so I'm not the best person to ask, but I feel like I've watched enough highlights and enough videos of him from his time at Sporting where, like, that's what he does. He's a goal scorer. I don't think as of right now, and maybe I'm just not seeing it, I don't think there's much else to his game. I really don't think there is. And if he's scoring, great. But if he's not, I don't really see what he contributes to that team other than being able to score goals. Trossard's been off the boil now for a number of weeks, and it's crazy. Sorry, I went off track for a second. But what I meant to say a minute ago was, like, isn't it crazy that they could win the league this year, and there is a chance that not a single player from their front 3 could be in the Premier League Team of the Year? Like, that is insane. Now, look, the Premier League's been around since 92, 93, so we're talking 33, 34 years. I don't know. Maybe there was a season years back that I'm forgetting where that happened, but can anybody think of a year where the Premier League champions didn't have at least one player in their front 3? I would argue that front 3 right now isn't even like top 8, 9, maybe even top 10. Okay, definitely not top 8. Liverpool have a better front 3. City do. United do. So many teams, that's concerning. That is really, really, really concerning. And, what other point did I want to make? With Arsenal as well, I don't think Odegaard's a captain. I think Odegaard, I keep pulling from other podcasts that I listen to. But we're trying to figure out how we want to do this, so we're trying to take inspiration. But somebody made a great point the other day. I was watching a video on YouTube, and someone made a great point. Like, Odegaard might have been a great captain during that transitional period 3 or 4 years ago when that team was young and inexperienced, but I don't think he is a good captain for right now. I think Odegaard's a really great player. I'm honestly kind of bewildered by his drop-off in the last year and a half. I really don't understand it. But for me, when I look at that team, I think Declan Rice is an Arsenal captain. To me, he screams Arsenal. I think I've been saying it for the past 5 months. I think Declan Rice, at least coming into this upcoming season, in 26-27, I think he should absolutely be captaining Arsenal. Because as of right now, your captain can't be a guy who can barely play a full 90 minutes most games. That's just not right. But yeah, I mean, okay, last year Liverpool ran away with it, but we are now talking about if they don't win the league this year, 3 out of 4 years, 3 out of 4 seasons, bottling the league. I mean, has anybody ever bottled the league that much in the Prem? I really don't think they have. Arsenal fans are going to be praying that they can get it over the line, but it is not, it's not looking good. It's just not looking good. And, it's a mentality thing. And I think that comes down to the manager. I really think if they don't win the league this year and Arteta gets fired, I don't think anybody can blame Arsenal for making that decision. I think he has had probably more time than he deserved. Now look, I think Arsenal fans can, be grateful, because, to give him credit, they, spent years, outside the top 4, finishing 8th, 6th. They could at the very least thank him for, thank you for getting us to this sustained level, because, listen, he has been successful, but success is measured by trophies, and he just doesn't, other than that COVID FA Cup, he's got nothing major to show for it. So, it'll be very curious to see how the rest of their season pans out. But right now, City are breathing down their necks, and I don't know. They've got that game against each other in a month or two, and I think that City Arsenal game will be title deciding. I think whoever wins that game, depending on where everything stands by the time that game comes, I think that game is going to be a title decider. Switching gears very quickly to United Everton. We've had a few weeks off now, so, some decent rest, which is, I think probably been beneficial. I think Sesko should be starting. I think a lot of people would agree. I think after his, heroics against Fulham, and, saving us the point, against, West Ham in the dying minutes, I think he has more than earned a start. I would personally be a little upset if he didn't get the start. I want to see that front three. We've rarely seen the front three of Sesko and Bumo and Cunha together. So, I'd like to see it. Everton, a lot better this year. I know Everton, we had those few years where it was like, will they, won't they go down? But, they're in what? I've not watched all the games today, so the table might be slightly different. But they're in 9th, 10th, so a lot better. They've been a lot better this year. Home form has been pretty decent, so I don't think it'll be an easy game. They tend to always give us a very tough time. But I am going to say for the Everton game, I'm going to say 2-1 United. I think, and I'm going to say goals from Mbumo and Sesko. I think a goal from Mbumo and Sesko, and I think Bruno is going to add two more goals. Oh my God, sorry. 2 more assists to his tally, which would bring him to 14. And doesn't that make everybody mad? I don't know if he'll be able to beat the assist record. I just don't think there's enough time. And again, too, it's a matter of can the person you're assisting convert the chance? And, with our team, sometimes I'm not exactly sure. So I don't know if Bruno will be able to do that, but gosh, imagine a world, people, where he was playing in the 10 role all the way back in September, August. The guy could already have 20 assists right now. It makes me really mad. And we all know people are going to chat shit. And, if he doesn't break the record, it'll be and I don't want to hear it. Bruno Fernandes is the best number 10 in the world. And, nobody at me, because it's true. But I think the West Ham game was a bit of a humbling. Again, I think this team really, that's our kryptonite. The low block is our kryptonite. And, I think, in games where we do face that low block, I think Sesko's height is, I think it's our secret weapon. I really think it is. So, I really hope to see Sesko start. 2-1 prediction. And obviously, I'm pretty sure we'll be doing a pod post-match after that game, and hopefully it's a positive one, talking about a United win. But yeah, Everton, good team, a lot better this year, a lot of very well organized under David Moyes. And yeah, I think they will give us a very tough game. It's never easy playing against them, but yeah, I think 2-1's a pretty realistic prediction. Sorry guys, I'm drawing a blank right now. What else do I want to talk about in regards to, Everton? No, that's basically it. I just want to see that front three starting together. It's something that we've rarely been able to see. And, but yeah, the only thing that concerns me, guys, is this thin squad. I've reached the point now with Cunha and Mbeumo. They've instilled so much confidence in me, and Sesko too, to be honest, in recent weeks. I'm confident that they'll score pretty frequently. Mbeumo has scored against Liverpool, Arsenal, City. He's scored in basically all the big games. Tottenham. Or did he score against Tottenham? Or was that Cunha? That might have been Cunha. But still, Mbeumo has scored in, most of the big six clashes that he's been in. And, I trust this team. It's not a question of trusting them. It's just our squad is so unbelievably thin. Really don't understand why Ineos didn't go for Ruben Neves in the January window. Cause we could have used some depth. And that's my only concern, guys. We've got 3 more months left, give or take, of this season. And 1 or 2 injuries, we are completely screwed. Completely screwed. And then that plays into, you worry about them, I don't know, as the weeks go on, maybe being a bit too reserved in games because they're worried about injuries and, I don't know. I'll be honest. It's a huge nerve of mine. It's a huge nerve how thin this squad is. But good news today. Chelsea dropped points against Burnley, 1-1 draw. Unfortunately, Leeds, couldn't hold the win, but, they, scrapped a draw with Villa. And, Greg texted me before I started my portion of this pod, and he's like, if I told you back in October we'd be knocking on the door of 3rd place, I would have said you were crazy. And I think as United fans, we need to realize that, yes, we are still in a rebuild, but I think we should be very proud of this team. The turnaround we've had, thank you to Michael Carrick, what he's done for us. Absolutely unbelievable. I think if we finish in the top 5 and he doesn't at least or if he's not at least offered the job, I will feel sick to my stomach. Cause right now, who else in world football is available that could do a job at United? The only manager, and me and Greg have said, the only manager right now who, if he put his hat into the ring and said, I'll take the job, the only one I'd be happy with right now is Luis Enrique. And I just don't see a world where he leaves PSG. He seems super happy there. But, roll on Everton on Monday. A definite 3 points needed. Like I said, I do think that West Ham game, although having said that, was Casemiro's goal offside? I don't think it was. I'll be curious to hear what you all think. But, a bit salty about that game. I think we might have deserved the 3 points. Again, let's be honest. It wasn't a great performance. I mean, you could argue some fatigue had set in because we'd only played, Tottenham a few days, prior to that. So who knows? Maybe it was a bit of fatigue, but, we've had basically 2 weeks off now. So, I think this has to be a win. No other exceptions. And, 2-1 United. And let's hope that other teams around us can drop points. Let's hope that City can drop points today against Newcastle. And who knows? Igor Tudor at Tottenham. Maybe new manager bounce. I feel like Arsenal could be playing Tottenham at a very bad time. So, who knows? Let's hope that the stars align and we see a potential loss for both City and Arsenal. And let's hope our boys in red get 3 points. Thank you for listening, guys. And I just want to say, me and Greg are very new to this. A lot of this right now is going to seem like word vomit. This may suck for the first few months. We're not podcasters. We're not radio hosts. We don't have a natural knack for this, but we love football, and really we want this pod to be, we aren't master tacticians. We're not, we have a base level understanding of the game, but we've had a passion for United for basically our entire lives. And I feel like, it's interesting to hear the perspective of the fans who, don't live in England and who aren't, going to the games every week, a bit more of an outsider perspective. But yeah, to anybody who ends up tuning in, we appreciate it. And like we said, we are open to constructive criticism because we are a deer in the headlights when it comes to this stuff. But yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. And I hope to be talking to you in a positive vein in a few days' time when we have hopefully beaten Everton. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
What's going on, guys? Greg here now. So it's funny because for me, when I look at this Everton game, right, I think there's a couple layers of it that both terrify me but excite me. The terrified side, I guess, to address the bad first, has to be the selection of the squad, and then also just how historically we are with Everton. I feel like there's a lot of games where we'll pop out, we'll put some goals into their net, and out of nowhere, it's like a 5-1, 4-1, 3-0, 4-0 lead, or win rather. But then there's some times where they can be a Spurs for us as of recent, besides a couple weeks ago, where they're just our bogey team. They're giving us a hard time, and something about it just doesn't make me feel great that it's away, which is hilarious that it's not at Goodison, but that's besides the point. But yeah, I don't necessarily feel insanely positive about the game, just how I did for maybe the Spurs match, how I did feel for the West Ham match, but yeah. But I guess with the squad, my only concern is Carrick's selection, I think. I'm really, really, really hoping to see that front three that we purchased in the summer, Cunha, Šeško, and Mbumo, try to finally get that in a starting lineup. But yeah, I think I'm just going to make this pretty simple. I'm going to run through my predicted lineup, my predicted score line, and then the best for last, I'm going to give my opinions now to follow up on Maddie for the Arsenal bottle job. So yeah, let me get right into it. I'm just going to lay out, I think, obviously Laman's in goal. Just to talk about him for a second too. I was listening to a pod kind of just reviewing transfers and talking about the keeper position as a whole and keepers that have moved around. And they highlighted United. And they were talking about Laman's, how it's a beautiful thing that he's not in many headlines. You know, he's not getting any shtick. He's not getting kind of much online shit because at the end of the day, he's not causing problems. He can play out of the back comfortably. He's reaching out and going for balls, grabbing on corners and set pieces, and he's playing the ball confidently, and he's making the saves where he needs to save. And he can get to ground just 5 times quicker than Onana. But yeah, for him, it's just a beauty that he's not in the headlines every week. It's like you think about him, and at the end of a match, you want to give him a match rating, and it's kind of funny because you're like, I don't remember even seeing much of him, and I think that that makes for a high rating for a keeper. If I'm being honest, I'd rather have a keeper that you don't even recognize in the game than a keeper that had to make 20 saves because then that's meaning that people are breaking down your defense. But yeah, as a whole, obviously we're going to stick with Laman's in the back, and I just want to commend him because he's been awesome. I think he's been a very undervalued signing compared to Cunha, Šeško, and Mbumo so far. But with the back line, obviously you got to go with Luke Shaw. He's looking like a 2020/2021, whatever it was called, Euro Luke Shaw. He's looking awesome. Then obviously you have to go Licha. You have to go with the Butcher. And then I want to see Harry Maguire as well. And then see, it's funny because I feel like there's an argument to be made for Mazraoui, but I think based on recent results, based on growing confidence, and based on Carrick wanting to keep a steady squad, I'm going to predict Delo. And then I would probably have to say the same with the midfield. I think he keeps the Mainu, Casemiro, and obviously the best midfielder in the league in our captain Bruno. But yeah, up top, I do like Mbumo at the striker position, but I really, really, really would love to see Šeško get a start. I think it's Maddie may have said it, I can't remember, but I think he was, five goals out of 6 games. And I would just love to see them give him a start. He deserves it. He fully deserves it. I don't really think people would argue with that. I don't think many fans would be upset with it. I think maybe some fans that are more traditionalist minded, based off of building squads and lineups based on results, would be a little upset that, they're not seeing the same exact squad based on our form. But yeah, I think Šeško would be an amazing start. I think it'd be nice to see him have time on his card. And the only other argument I could say is there are certain strikers that feed off of, being the guy to come in and quote unquote save the day, or kind of put the nail in the coffin and put an extra goal on the board. But I don't know if that's Šeško at that young age too. Like I can think of, for example, maybe like a Cavani or maybe like a Lukaku when he wasn't starting, where it's like, all right, we're going to throw him on at 75th minute and he's pretty much going to guarantee you some sort of a goal. Or he'll distract the back line to where he can open up a winger to be in play more. But yeah, I would say I like the quote unquote super sub type thing we're doing with Šeško right now, and obviously it's working for him. He's performing beautifully. He is obviously very comfortable in that spot and in that role. But I think we brought him in to be our starting striker, to be our true goal scorer, poacher, whatever you want to call it. And he's just so darn physical. I hope he has the legs to last for that long, but at the end of the day, you can throw in Zerk. I'm not even incredibly keen on Xerxes. I think he's an awesome lad, but I don't necessarily think he's someone that, we're going to end up keeping for the incredible long term or foreseeable future, but whatever, that's besides the point. I think, to basically get to what I'm saying, I do really want to see Šeško start. And if not, I honestly, I back the manager. I think that right now I'm in a position where, and Matt and I think are probably in an agreeable position where we're like, if he came out of the squad and he was putting Xerxes up top and he's throwing, Bruno back on the wing and just making hilarious decisions, I'd be like, but 9 times out of 10, I'm going to trust Carrick and believe in what he's doing, especially even with, getting knocked back a little bit with the Dorgu injury. Seeing how he handled that, just throwing in Cunha where he should and kind of naturally taking on that role, I was like, beautiful, amazing. That's exactly what I want to see Carrick do. But yeah, and then I would say my score prediction, oh man, every time I make a score prediction, I'm playing with fire, because not like I have any say, but every time I make a score prediction, the entire game I'm watching, like the whole time the match is on, I'm thinking about that figure in my head. And like here, for example, if I predicted a 3-1 win and it's, 1-0 and they blow the whistle, in my head I'll be mad because it wasn't, we didn't win by 2 goals, we only won by 1. It's like this stupid, like my brain's like, come on. That's the result we got to get to. It should have been better, but it's like at the end of the day, it's the same 3 points if you batter them 10-0 or if you win 1-0 at the last minute. But regardless, I'm gonna go with. I guess I have to say I'd go with probably a 2-1 win. That's the most historical result for United. But I'm gonna go with 1-0 or 2-1. I'll probably lock in 2-1 United with goals from Šeško. I think I agree with Maddie there, and then I'm going to go with a Bruno goal. I'm going to go with a pen. We're going to start the scoring with a pen from Bruno. So that's my prediction. I feel pretty confident for the most part, besides being away and it being Everton with the history. But I think as a whole, I'm feeling pretty good about it. So that's my prediction. I'm going to lock it in. And then now, the cream of the crop, the cherry on top. End of the show here, talking about Arsenal. So it's funny how Maddie brought it up, because for me, when I list out my hatred of United, right? I was born in 2000. So I was growing up to hate Chelsea, to hate City, honestly, to hate Barcelona, to hate Spurs for their historical, just kind of like upset in our days. Leeds, of course, with the historical rivalry there. But Liverpool was like the North Star. They were like the team to hate on, right? As a United fan. And they should be historically, rivalry, prowess, all their honors, trophies, all that. I agree. Hands down, number one, locked in. As of the last 2 or 3 years, and I'm not going to say being big in the community. That's not what I mean when I say being big in the community, but being like someone who's paying attention to just football media as a whole, watching podcasts, listening to talk shows, reading articles, just tracking United buzz like, every hour of the hour of every day for the past couple of years right now, or the past couple of years now. Hearing how they speak about Arsenal, and specifically, I would say the media, but more so, and so much more heavily so, Arsenal's fan base. The delusion is off the hook, so out of balance that it is just comical at this point, right? Like AFTV and all these other channels that just like they blame the weather, they blame injuries like no other. They say, hey, if Arteta comes in second for the next 10 years and wins nothing, they say they want to keep him. And I'm just like, it's such delusion. And comparing this squad to an 08-09 United squad, comparing this squad to the 99 treble, what are we doing right now? Like, what are we doing? This is absolutely ridiculous. I can't stand it. I think this squad, just like Matt was saying, the attacking three, just stop. The Saka contract, the Declan Rice has those two. I'm not going to knock it. Incredible goals for Real Madrid. They're ready to make a statue for that lad. I swear, it's absolutely insane. And he probably is the best player there right now, I'd say, besides maybe a Saliba. And it's just like, I don't understand how they just glaze this team so hard. And like, honestly, right now, I still think Arsenal's going to win the league. If I have to say it, it's probably, I would say Arsenal will probably do it. But in terms of rivalry and just like my hate for Arsenal, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm like, I'd rather City just hop up, do it again, just so we could all, as a culture, a football culture, turn around and laugh at Arsenal because they just won't shut up, man. And Flopperez, I refuse to believe that he's better than Šeško. I'm so much happier that we got Šeško for the age and the speed and like just the raw power. I'm so much happier. But yeah, and then the Arteta talk of keeping him, and it's so funny because even this morning, right? I'm looking on X, and I saw a post, and it was like, this would be one of the greatest bottle jobs of all time if they don't complete this. And I think it was a screenshot from maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. City had a game City had a game in hand, so you have to take that into account. But I think it was a 12-point clearance for first place in the Prem. Locked themselves. It was right. It was the morning after the Carabao Cup semifinal when they played Chelsea, I believe. Locked themselves into the Carabao Cup final. First place in the Prem, up by 12 points. First place in the Champions League, and they're in the 5th round of the FA Cup. And I was like, wow. Like we at that point we were stepping into February, and I was like, if they walk away trophyless, which I mean they're in a final already. Again, they're still in first place, even though City won the other day or yesterday, and they're 2 points behind them. If they walked away trophyless, that has to be talked as the greatest bottle job in history. Like I don't really think there's much of a question to it, and I hate City, I really do, but I would just love to see Arsenal crumble and just their blow-ups and their head loss. Oh, I love it. But that's my prediction, and I just wanted to lay out the opinions on Arsenal because those fans, man, unbearable.